Hey y'all! Again, let me know if the mic is okay because I'm using my laptop mic again. I'm gonna get a new mic on payday, which is next or this Friday. But until then, this will have to suffice. I have the mood music on. I don't know. That's why I'm kind of worried about the mic volume. So let me know in the chat. Also, sorry for doing this one later than usual. Hey, Allison. Ooh. Yeah, I hope you guys are all doing good, doing well. Um, been a bit of a crazy week in the world, I know, especially in the U.S. So to my friends over there, be safe, be well. The music sounds like background white noise, or the mic does. I mean, you might be right. I don't know. I don't know what the music is doing. That's the mic that I'm tapping. Desktop audio. Let me know how that is. Huh. Mic is okay? Okay. Good to know, good to know. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to General Hospital After Show. I'm your host, Dion Gabriel. And yeah, it was, we'll get into the fictional world here just to, give you guys something to escape with. Our anniversary of when Jason was born. That's cool. 1981. Wow. Born in the era of Luke and Laura. Well, happy anniversary, or happy birthday, really, to Jason. Oh, man. Yeah, it's been an interesting week in Port Charles. The story in Croatia kind of came to its climax, and we got Britt returning to town, which we'll get into. We had Valentine Cassadine return, and Charlotte, who, while she's been in Port Charles, we've not seen her since she got rescued. We've seen her. And of course all the stuff with Drew as well. So that's what we're gonna get into, in terms of like the plots and everything. I guess we'll get into Valentine and Charlotte's return first. So Brennan had found out recently that his second in command, Colette, was actually a double agent, and he wanted information on who she's working for. So he gives Valentine a shout, who is still sitting in Steinmauer after his own crime spree. Valentine offered to give him all the information he wants in exchange for an in-person visit with Charlotte. We have not seen Charlotte, like I said, since she's been rescued, which was over 5 months ago. And we finally got to see her this week. She's much taller than she was before, due to being recast. But honestly, had I not looked it up, if someone were to tell me that the previous actress just hit a Grossberg and matured since we seen her, I probably would have bought it. She is very similar to the actress that played her before, just in the way that she kind of plays Charlotte. Very, very similar mannerisms. But yeah, no, it's a new actress. But yeah, so Brennan meets Lulu at Bobby's and asks her if she'd be okay with Valentine and Charlotte meeting, and Lulu refuses. But Brennan gently reminds her that keeping Valentine away from Charlotte doesn't mean she's not fair game for one of Valentine's enemies to go after her. And speaking of Charlotte, remember how Scout went missing from camp again the previous week? Turns out Charlotte is a camp counselor in training over there, and was the one that drove her away to the Quartermaines to be with them after finding out about her father. Just because Charlotte gets what it's like to be away from her father. and people potentially being hurt and not having anyone to lean on. Um, but yeah, she takes her to the Quartermaines, specifically the stables where Cody's at, to keep her safe, and eventually Alexis and Molly and Willow all made their way down there when they realized where she was. Um, we'll get more into like the Drew angle a little bit later. Suffice to say, Lulu grounded Charlotte for breaking the rules of the camp. And yes, I agree, Allison. We're going to talk about that soon as well. Allison, you said it's annoying that they recasted Charlotte. I feel like the other actress doesn't seem to be as available. So, like I don't really mind it so much. If they're wanting to utilize her more, then I say go with recast. And I mean, maybe I'm a little bit biased because I'm not super into the previous actress that played her. But yeah, Allison, you said Lulu was too harsh on her. I think Lulu feels like she has to overcompensate on being like a parent figure, and giving Charlotte a normal life, so she's being a little bit extra. I think grounding for a month is a little bit crazy considering like she was just trying to get Scout to her family, and I'm sure Charlotte didn't realize about the restraining order either. So there's that. But all right, let's move on. We'll get back into like the Scout and Drew and stuff a little bit later. But I figure we might as well get into the going-ons outside of Port Charles, all the way in fake Croatia. This week, Britt Westbourne made it back to Port Charles safely, but it certainly wasn't without its drama. So while she was in Croatia, Pascal, her keeper, who's supposedly been taking orders from a mysterious boss, decided to go rogue, strap a bomb to Britt's heel, and have it set to go off within like an hour, I think it was. To kill her and to take out the facility in the process because he believed that their research or their mission had gone AWOL. Because obviously, Joss and Vaughn and Jason are all there infiltrating this thing that they're not even really sure is what's going on. But anyway, so Britt made a point to say that the boss would never have her killed, which makes me think it might be Nathan. Again, regardless of how little it makes sense for him to be alive, we know that Ryan Pavey is coming back. And with Britt alive and Obrecht back in town, it makes sense that they would have it be Nathan, regardless of how little sense it makes for him to even be alive. So it'll be intriguing to see how they spin it if that's the route that they're going for. But yeah, so anyway, Jason had at this point left Britt to go and rescue Jocelyn and Vaughn. And funny enough, it kind of ended up being the opposite. Jason started to struggle with one of the guards, and Jocelyn ended up knocking the guy out, which looked ridiculous. Jason was just like, did you learn that in WSB training? Like, he's obviously pissed that she's with the WSB. And Vaughn was like, he made a comment about him acting like her father. And Jocelyn's like, yeah, you have no idea. Alison said, hopefully Britt isn't doing the bad experimenting on animals and people. I don't think she is. I think she's working on the drug itself, but she probably has no... I don't think she's the one that's like testing on animals. I think she's just making the whatever the product is to be tested. Because I don't know. Britt's a lot of things, but I don't think she would, test on animals. At least I would hope not. I don't think she's doing the testing. I think she's just making this drug or whatever it is. Like, it had something to do with radiation, I believe, so I don't know. But yeah, so Jason returns to Britt. He manages to get the bomb off of her ankle, and the four of them barely escape the lab before the bomb goes off. Honestly, it was probably the most low-budget explosion they've done ever, but I guess it got the point across that something exploded. But, Britt saved the cringiness of the moment with one of her famous one-liners. She was like, there's something I've been meaning to tell you. I really don't like your tattoos. Which I loved it. It's just classic Britt, just kind of breaking the ice of the moment. I loved it. And with that, Jason and Britt, they hop back on a plane and make their way back to Port Charles while Jason gave her sage advice on, what it's like to enter back into the world of the living, since he's done it once or twice at this point. Probably twice, maybe 3 times. I don't know. Allison, he said, also Nathan is a big guy in charge. Hopefully he's not evil. It's hard to say because Ryan Pavey did go on record saying that his return is a little spicy. So, I don't know. It's unique. I'm intrigued to hear the story. Also, when Brendan was talking to Valentine, they did kind of touch base on Caesar Faison, that there's ties to Faison. Just because his brain is in a jar doesn't mean that his network died with him. So, someone that's tied to Faison is running the show. I mean, if it's not Britt, it's probably Nathan somehow. Or maybe Nathan had a long-lost twin. I don't know. I do not know. Austin, you said you're not a fan of the tattoos? Yeah, I mean, I like tattoo sleeves. I would love to have my own. I'm so indecisive about design and stuff that I would have no idea what I would put on my arms. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it necessarily suits Steve Burton that much. Which is, it is what it is. But if they have meaning to him, then they're golden. That's really what it comes down to. But anyway, once they're back in Port Charles, Britt's first stop is at GH to refill whatever meds she's taking that supposedly are keeping her alive. And that already complicates things because Rocco happened to be there getting stitches after chasing his new dog Outback after it ran away. Hey, Angel. And taking a large tree branch to the head. And it was Liesel who took him there. Alison says sci-fi, yep. But yeah, Lulu and Dante were at the hospital as well, and same with Nina, because Nina had been with Lulu when she got word on Rocco's injury. Nina was at Lulu's, advising her to take Brendan's offer into her own hands, have Charlotte meet with Valentine so that she'd look more like a hero rather than a villain or an obstacle keeping her away from her father. And if she agrees, it could be on her own terms as well. Oh, you're thinking Brixtine who killed, or who tried to kill Drew? I don't know. I feel like he would have just told Sonny, no? I don't know. We'll get into that in a little bit, though. But yeah, anyway. On Lulu's best day, Lulu is walking on eggshells with Charlotte because they never had a great mother-daughter relationship to begin with. She's such a daddy's girl. And then you add the 4-year coma, her disdain for Valentine that she tries her best to hide, and that stubborn Spencer blood that runs in Charlotte's veins. Like, you got a ticking time bomb in the form of a teenage daughter there. So, Lulu's trying to be careful, but also trying to give Charlotte a normal life. But she's oblivious because Charlotte tries to not mention Valentine to Lulu because she knows how much it, irritates her mom. And she's just trying to be, fair to her mom, who's been in a coma for 4 years. But Nina told her, she's like, no, she talks to me about Valentine all the time. I'm kind of neutral territory when it comes to that, so it works. Yeah, we're going to get into that too, Allison, because I'm excited about that as well. Rocco was older than Charlotte, right? Yeah, Charlotte was born first. Technically, they were both, I didn't realize this till this week, but both Charlotte and Rocco were, stolen embryo situations, because Charlotte was carried by Claudette and Rocco by Britt. 2 stolen embryos. 2 instant kids for Lulu with fathers that she's never slept with, which is crazy. Yeah, Lulu has 2 teens. Scary. Yeah, that poor girl. At least Rocco's a relatively good kid though. But yeah, also, I remember the days when Charlotte was a demon child. That demon's probably still in there somewhere, just waiting to come out. Now she's a demon young woman. Okay, they're both 16 though. Yeah, I think Rocco's just a little bit older. Although wait, Who was Charlotte bullying back in the day? Because they would have been in the same grade. Was it Jake? I can't remember. Either way. Yeah, she was evil. Oh, man. Anyway, though, back to Britt. So, Elizabeth was the first to see her, and she was shocked. She was shook, y'all. And then shortly after that, Liesel, Nina, Dante, and Lulu all at the same time seeing Britt's face. And Obrecht collapsed. Aiden, thank you, Allison. Charlotte used to bully Aiden. So, yeah, Rocco's a little bit older. Hey, Coretta. Yeah, thanks, guys. But yeah, so yeah, Liesel collapsed, and when she came to, she chuckled because she's like, "I swear I saw Britt, but that's not impossible. That's not possible." And Britt's like, "Actually, Muta, I'm right here." And tears of joy on Obrecht's face. It was a beautiful moment, and even like Britt hugging Nina. Lulu and Dante were still pretty cold towards her, but Britt kind of was equally clapping back to her. But yeah, I love Liesel and Britt's reunion before it all went to hell in a handbasket. More on that later. But when Britt realized that Rocco was in the hospital, she was like, "Ben's here," and I'm like, "Girl, you know damn well you called him Ben just to get under Lulu and Dante's skin. It was wrong, but I still can't help but like Britt, you guys. I'm sorry. Kelly Tebow is just so freaking likable. Like, I can't hate Britt. Because, she is a morally gray character. She's just, she's not afraid to get nasty when she feels like people are being harsh towards her. So, there's that. But yeah, thankfully, Britt respected Lulu and Dante enough to leave with Liesel and Nina so that they could break the news to Rocco gently themselves. So, like I said, morally gray character. She's not without a heart completely. When Elizabeth told Lucas, he was tempted to call Brad, but Elizabeth advised him against it, since things were going so well with Marco, regardless of the things he doesn't know about her. And because for all they knew, Brad could have been in on it, so he decides not to. I don't think that Brad's in on it. I feel like if she didn't tell her own mother, she wouldn't tell Brad either. Like, I don't think anyone else knew that she was alive. And we know that, like, before she had died, quote unquote, like, she wanted to leave Port Charles so that she could die away from them and not give them the burden of that. And to that end, when Nina, Liesel, and Britt go back to Nina's place, Britt tells them how and why she faked her death. And it turns out she got an offer to take on this research project before she was on the pier, and she decided to take them up on it. But then she got attacked by by Heather, the Hook, and technically Jocelyn did, and she jumped in to save her. And she used that to sort of fake her own death. So I'm assuming that Britt just made it look like she was stabbed by the Hook, and she probably was aware that the Hook was poisonous, and she was just saying, "I'd rather die this way than my disease," and so that's the story there. But Liesel was livid, y'all. Like, she was pissed because Britt literally made it seem like she died in Liesel's arms, which was far more traumatizing than just letting her in on the fact that she was going to leave to not be a burden, knowing that, like, yes, she could die, but respect her daughter's wishes. So Liesel smacked her, and smacked her hard, y'all. That was the slap that all of Port Charles heard. I was like, damn, woman. Oh, man. I can't eat bread because you don't perfect rip off the other doctor. Sorry, I don't understand what you're saying there. Sorry. Alright, now as for Jason, when he got back to Port Charles, he went straight to Anna to confront her on Joss being in the WSB, asking her when she figured it out. And when she told him it was a few months ago, he was livid and felt betrayed. She said that's why she aimed him towards Croatia to help her, to help Jocelyn, but he just felt manipulated by her and stormed out on her. I hope he tells Carly the truth, honestly, because it's time to blow up her relationship with Brandon. Because Carly's sitting there telling everyone, "Oh, I trust him so completely," and had this talk of trust with Brennan. Like, she needs to know. She needs to know. And I know before Anna was kind of made to keep her mouth shut because Jocelyn was on a mission. She's out of the mission now. The mission is over. Jocelyn is safe and sound in Australia with Vaughn, making love in paradise, apparently. Unfortunately, that's a taboo in the WSB. Agents dating each other. And Brendan walked in on them having sex. So he scolded them like another father figure in her life. Honestly, on paper, this would probably be a storyline that I would enjoy. Like, I like seeing the WSB back. Agents falling in love and it being taboo. It's very, like, classic 80s vibe, but it's just so damn unbelievable to sell Joss as this kick-ass WSB agent. Like, when I think back to young Anna Devane in the WSB, it was clear that Finola, like, had some martial arts training and like, took classes to make it look like she could hold a gun. Or maybe she did that in real life just for the sake of it. But you could tell that Finola was like, trained to kick ass and take names. Or, did it to make the character more believable. And God bless Eden McCoy. This girl needs to do that too. Because her holding a gun looked unrealistic. Her knocking the guard out to save Jason looked ridiculous. Because she was just like, y'all get her into some classes so that she makes a more believable agent. Otherwise, this just feels like the WSB from Temu. Like, I can't. I want to so badly. I want to enjoy this storyline. I just can't. And for the record, I don't think I mentioned it. They're in Australia to kind of cover Jocelyn's cover story of being in Australia, which is what she told her mom. I guess. But yeah. Oh, and to that end, by the way, while he's been kind of off the radar within the storyline, the stuff with Dalton ain't over yet. Professor Dalton. Emma has been getting close with him this entire time, I guess, and she's determined to find out if he's testing on animals. The unfortunate part is we know that the people he's working for certainly were testing on animals. Pascal and his cronies all said so. And they were going to use Jocelyn and Vaughn as human guinea pigs, essentially. Just to, okay, we tested on animals, let's test it on humans kind of thing. Whatever it is they're working on. So yeah, unfortunately though, as I mentioned before, Outback, Rocco's dog, ran away, and the dog is still missing. So it is very possible, and Dalton was in the area, it is very possible that Dalton has their dog. And listen, as a dog owner and a dog lover, ooh, I'm mad if that's the case. And Dalton needs to pay. And Emma needs to make him pay. Anna's a little distracted anyway now that her BFF Jason is all mad at her. Allison, he said Jason looked bad in almost getting shot and almost losing the fight. Albert said he's old and needs to retire. Yeah, it was crazy. Like, I'm so used to seeing Jason look so invincible because, the writers have always made him out to be that way. Like, he wins every fight, he shoots every villain, like, all this stuff. That it's just weird to see Jason in a tight spot with a guard getting the best of him. And, it is realistic. Jason is getting older. But to have to be saved by Jocelyn Jax like that. Like, man. Albert's not wrong, Allison. He needs to retire. Although, to be fair, like, this wasn't... He's not working for anybody in this situation. He was out there trying to rescue Britt. Like, he wasn't even out there for anything. He didn't suspect that there was, like, going to be this crazy situation going on for Britt. He was there to just bring her back to Port Charles, and he got WSB Jocelyn Jax held captive, and Britt with a bomb on her leg. So, yeah. Allison, you said you're going to be mad if anything happens to that dog. Me too. He better not manage to get that dog injected with whatever he's experimenting on them with. He better not get that far. Allison, he's like 54. I mean, to be fair, there's like strong 50-year-olds that are still like stronger than most like average 30, 40-year-olds. So someone said on Reddit that Jason is getting tired of the shit. Probably. He just he's already living at the Quartermains, and with Monica's death imminent, I think he's gonna get the wind taken out of his sails and focus on what family he has left. Sonny's already looking to retire anyway. Might as well get the ball rolling. Get the ball rolling. Let's get some new villains and heroes into the show. They can only do so much for so many years. And when you think about like the heroes of yesteryear that were actual heroes and not mobsters, like the Lukes and the Lauras and the Roberts and the Hollies and the Friscos and Felicias, like they all had like their small window of being like the most powerful heroes on the show. And by the time the 90s were around, only 10 years later, they were kind of mellowed out and like not doing as much crazy stuff. So, I mean, I guess Anna's still like the police commissioner, but they simmered her down too. Like at some point, it gets unrealistic. So it's time, y'all. Time to get some new heroes in the works, and if they're gonna make it Jocelyn and Vaughn, get the girl some training so that she looks like a realistic, kick-ass agent. Sonny needs to retire. He's in his 60s. Yeah. All right, y'all. Let's talk about Drew. Drew's bitch ass. This man unfortunately woke up this week, and apparently 2 gunshots isn't enough to take him out. So he went right back into doing what he does best. Hey, Nathan. Yeah, he went back into doing what he does best, pissing people off, being an abusive father to Scout by continuing to isolate her, Amy Cobb, from the rest of her family, and taking advantage of Willow's desperation to get her kids back as well. So all those things. And listen, I know that we have all these suspects: Michael, Curtis, Nina, Portia, Alexis, all with not so airtight alibis, and we kind of seen, them talking to the PCPD about their alibis this week, and it's putting certain people up at the top of the suspect list. I think Curtis is at the top right now. Michael's alibi is Jacinda, which already looks bad enough, and she's not even fully his alibi because we know that Michael was near Drew's place at one point without Jacinda. And even Dante doesn't buy that he was with Jacinda. So, I don't know. Nathan, you said Emma should be in this WSB agent storyline with Jocelyn. I agree. Or instead of Jocelyn. And Angel, you said he could have been paralyzed, but no. I know, it's hard to kick down a cockroach. Damn. Allison, you think Sidwell's had Drew shot? Well, that's the thing. Like, Sidwell has been unseen since the death of the judge and Drew. And while he's certainly among the theories of suspects, at least in the eyes of viewers, including myself, I don't think he thought much further than getting rid of the judge, and probably wouldn't be stupid enough to try and kill both the judge and Drew in one swoop, so that's why I'm starting to have doubts. And in all honesty, I think I'm leaning towards Willow. I think it was Willow, and that she is just unaware that she tried to kill him. To me, it felt like it was unmistakably her shadow, over his body when he was gunned down. Drew so desperately wanted to see her as soon as he woke up from his his coma or whatever he was in. And this man is making it seem like he doesn't actually care who shot him. He just knows he's going to frame Michael for his attempted murder to get her kids back to her. But yeah, like I said, Sidwell, it's believable, but it's also like really obvious, and I guess in a way Willow's not so obvious because like I don't know, she's like the way she's acting seems innocent, and the reason why I think that she seems innocent is because we know she's not mentally well. Like we know she's having mental issues right now. We just don't know how deep those issues are. And my guess is that if the shadow was obvious to us, perhaps Drew saw her shadow too, and so he's aware that she tried to kill him and doesn't remember. It's probably a split personality we're leaning towards, and I hate those storylines, but it feels to me like it could be that way. Allison said Michael killed Claudia on accident. He's not a cold-blooded killer who would shoot someone in the back. Yeah, like, I don't think Michael would either. Like, I don't think it's Michael anyway. But, Drew is not even trying to hide the fact that he's trying to frame Michael for his shooting. He practically gloated to Willow, Carly, and Curtis at different points about placing blame on Michael, despite saying he never saw who shot him. So, and he said that to Willow and Carly openly. Like, it's going to get her kids back, getting Michael out of the way. Also, he said Willow could have done it and has the ID. Yeah, like that's what it feels like it's being, because we've seen Willow kind of like go in and out of these like weirdly bizarre personality moments, like when she realized that Sasha moved out of town with the baby, like that evil smile she gave, and it was just a split second. And like, that ain't Willow. That ain't Willow. What's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, there's been hints. There's been hints. So we're probably gonna get that again. And if that is the case, then I'm thinking there's a part of Willow who sees that Drew is not a good person and needs to get got, and probably jumped to the conclusion that Drew had the judge killed so that she'd have no choice but to rely on him. Because here's Chase saying, the judge, listened to me and heard that you are a good mom from me, and coming to her as a human being. I think that there was hope there, at least maybe in Willow's eyes a little bit, but she's still, there's the part of her that's like, well, Drew is powerful and can get my kids back. Hey, Brooklyn. Yeah, Willow walking into the hospital room like she wanted to finish the job, like the way that she was looking at him when he was still unconscious. Like, like there's moments. There's moments where it's like, that ain't the Willow that is portraying herself to her friends. That is a different Willow in there until he woke up. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, and that part of Willow, she's willing to make a deal with literal Satan of Port Charles to be a mom again. So yeah, there's different personalities at play here. I mean, technically speaking, she gets to be Scout's mom for a little while. Might keep her busy for a little bit, perhaps, unless Scout's going to notice some things when they're at Elizabeth's house. We'll see. But yeah, thankfully Britt is around to give Michael a little bit of help when it comes to Drew as well. As you guys know, Drew is aware that the judge in Michael and Willow's case had received a cool $1 million in her bank account before the verdict came in. We know it's Sidwell, the audience. I mean, Sonny's pretty much figured that part out as well. But Drew thinks it's Sonny, which makes sense. And he planned on placing the blame on Sonny. He's probably using his powers to make it look more like Sonny, even if it wasn't. But Britt has already maneuvered things to make it look like Drew paid off the judge. So it's going to be a mess. and I'm gonna love it, honestly. Like, I'm excited to see how that plays out. Um, but yeah, and Britt kind of made a comment that he was in and out without anybody seeing him. Um, but Angel, I think he was, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I swear he was referring to before the investigation really went all in. You know, in and out so that nobody could see him go in there to plant the evidence that makes it look like Drew paid off the judge. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's kind of what happened in Port Charles this week. It was an interesting week. It was, you know, I really enjoyed the Brit stuff. I enjoyed Brick's plan to throw Drew under the bus because Drew needs a taste of his own medicine. But before I end the stream, one thing I'm surprised I've not brought this up to anyone. I watched The Runarounds, which is a series on Prime that has William Lipton, aka Cameron Weber, as the main singer in a band, his real life band, The Runarounds, and their TV show based on it. And I didn't watch it, you know, I didn't watch it like one night. I actually like took the time to like watch an episode or two every couple of nights. And there was 8 episodes total, and it was good, y'all. It was so good. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen it, so I'm not going to spoil anything, but needless to say, the first thing I noticed about it right away is that these aren't pre-recorded performances. They were performing these songs live. Like, you could hear the mics popping, you could hear, you know, a shaky note here and there. These weren't like pre-recorded, them lip-syncing to it. They had to have the talent enough to play that stuff live. And you know, and then like the fact that I noticed that it was giving A Star Is Born. Thought Brick went into Drew saved. Yeah, he did, but I think that he did it like after the attempted shooting was already done. Like, I think that he went in there like after the investigation had already began. And yes, Angel, the show was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, first of all, like being in a band myself and seeing these kids like really just go for it at this, you know, young point in their lives where they feel unstoppable. Like, it honestly kind of made me wish that I pursued it a little harder when I was their age. Because in the show, they're high school kids. I think William and the whole crew are a little bit older than who they're portraying. But yeah, William Lipton was so good. And the crazy thing is, like, again, this is a band. This is a real band. They've been together for 5 years. Honestly, with the mind frame that they were going to be getting a TV show right away. Like, they had already known 5 years ago, during COVID times, that this was in the works. Which is crazy. 2 of them, William and I think their bassist, had played together since they were 6 years old. I watched, like, cast interviews afterwards just to learn the kind of in and outs of it. And then the rest of them kind of joined in 5 years ago, and they all became friends, and they all wrote their own songs. Like, this wasn't like songs being fed to them apart from the cover songs that they would do from time to time during the show and in their own sets. But these guys, like, they actually went out and performed live, you know, concert venues in front of people. So there would be like points where they'd have to like throw their songs into the storylines, or have the stories kind of in mind when writing their own songs, but they wrote their own songs for it. So these are, you know, musicians utilizing their own talent, and then the writers of the show stepping in and creating a story with it. And on top of that, apart from William, the rest of the band are not actors. And they all did an incredible job. They had an acting coach, and they all gave really good, like, incredible performances on the show. Not only as musicians, but just, like, in the stories they had. Because while there's a lot of lightheartedness in the show, and again, I'm going to try to keep this as spoiler-free as possible, so you guys can enjoy it for yourselves, because highly recommend the show. So good. I hope they get a season 2. But there are some really heavy storylines that take place away from the band through all the characters, including the non-band members that are also regular characters in the show. But those people are actors. It's the band that's not, apart from William. And they all just did such an incredible job with it. And William, he killed it as well. He had some heavy stuff, especially towards the end, where he got to sort of play the heavier stuff and the emotional trauma of it. But like, what I loved with William in particular is he got to do a lot of comedy, and apparently they got to do their own stunts. Like, there were moments where like buses were flipping and they were in contraptions that were actually, spinning around, and like there were moments where he had to drive a car in a car chain. Like, it's crazy, y'all. It's so crazy, but so fun and so cool. It's just a feel good show with some emotional stuff and a lot of comedy thrown into it. And yeah, it is. It's probably geared towards the younger crowd. They obviously wanted to get like 5 good looking kids to get the young girls into into the show as well. But the band is damn good. The band is good, and because it's funny, I've been paying attention to this band for a few years now because they've been posting their own stuff on YouTube before I even know that they even had a show in the works. I think I only found that out maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So yeah, but they all did such an incredible job, and I won't even lie, I cried like legitimately. I mean, crying like thinking about it, like almost crying thinking about it. There were moments where I genuinely cried at like some of the stuff that went on the show, but there were moments where I was laughing my ass off as well. It's just so good. The characters are all just like really well written characters, and I think there's still more to be fleshed out in terms of like getting to know some of the characters' backstories a bit more. But they give us enough that like they each kind of have their own arcs within the show, and each arc has an importance within the show in terms of like the band's relationship. The show is called The Runarounds, just like the name of the band. So The Runarounds on Prime, really good show, highly recommend. Yeah, I just wanted to get that out there because I just the last couple of weeks I've been watching it and I just never brought it up in the streams. But it's so good. I highly recommend it. And so there's just some funny moments as well, and you get the treat of getting to hear, William and the band play their songs, and some songs are covers, and some of them are the songs that they've actually written, and it's live. It's not pre-records. It's actual live performances. So you got to get that in there as well. So yeah, the Runarounds. If you want, their music is on Spotify. Their album has been out for a couple years, and all the songs that we hear on the show were songs from that album. And I think they've released the live versions of what was seen on the show when the show came out. But yeah, highly recommend it. And if you're into sort of that indie rock vibe, really good tunes. Really good tunes. Yeah, I'm excited. I want to see what season 2 will bring, because the sky's the limit with what they could do with the show next. Yeah. I just wanted to share that. It's a damn good show. Highly recommend. And that's that on that. So yeah. Other than that, I'm gonna end the live stream here. Maybe I can't do a live stream Wednesday, but potentially Thursday I can. Maybe I'll dedicate Thursday to kind of having more of a discussion on the runarounds and the stories, and have there be like plots discussed and everything. Because there's no point in me making it an after show. The show is available in full on Prime. I've watched all of it, so I can kind of give my thoughts on the storylines and each of the characters. Oh, something I should mention, even though the Runarounds is a real band, they are not playing themselves. They've said that, like, the characters are similar to them in a lot of ways, but the characters have their own names that are not William and, the different names of the band. So, yeah. Playing characters. But yeah. Alright. I'm going to end the stream here. Maybe, yeah, Thursday I think we'll do a stream kind of discussing the plots of the story. So if you want to join me for that, feel free. Try to watch at least a few episodes before then if you have Prime. I think you guys can get Prime with that, with the ads playing on it as well, so that it's not as expensive. But yeah, try to watch it, or at the very least, YouTube has a lot of the performances on from the show already, and there's performances from the last couple of years, them doing their own thing on their own as the band. The runarounds, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Alright, but yeah, thanks so much for tuning into this live stream. If you liked this live stream, give it a big old thumbs up, subscribe if you want to. I will see you Thursday night for a bigger discussion on the runarounds, and I will catch you then. Good night. Or GH after show on Sunday as well. Good night. Mwah. I won't have a mic by Thursday, but I'll have one on Sunday. Bye.